we are going to discuss a bit of a back and forth between Jason Whitlock and Cam Newton. Now, I actually saw this last week, but I didn't know how much we wanted to milk the Joy
Hey
Taylor
man,
horse.
man, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? With those jugs, there's a lot of milk in them going.
Right, those tomato cans. Yeah,
What Whitlock says she got
she said
cans.
tomato cans. Yeah, and she got that. She got that peanut butter skin and those tomato cans. So for anybody who needs to get caught up on this, Joy Taylor was implicated in a civil lawsuit alleging a toxic workplace environment. In that same lawsuit, she is also alleged to have uh, engaged in an inappropriate sexual relationship with an executive at Fox Sports in order to get her way onto certain shows and to receive certain promotions. And she told this hairstylist who's filing the lawsuit that if things ever went left, she would use that relationship against the executive as a play to claim that he forced himself on her. And so she's kind of looking real crazy in the court of public opinion at the moment. Jason Whitlock, an old school journalist who now has his own show on YouTube, used to work at Fox Sports, has been giving his opinion on this. And he basically said in a roundabout way that he couldn't see himself when he worked at Fox working with Joy Taylor because he knew at the time what he was capable of. He said that, she can't be showing up with her peanut butter skin and her tomato cans because it just wouldn't make sense for him in terms of fostering a professional working environment. Because, Jason Whitlock knew what that's about and he might take advantage of that. And here comes Cam Newton unmuting to talk about how inappropriate Whitlock's comments were and to basically say Jason Whitlock doesn't have the cachet to talk like that because he is quote unquote not that guy. And Whitlock responded to Cam Newton by saying, "What do you mean by that guy? Furthermore, do you think I want to be that guy?" So that is the subject of this particular segment here. So this says, "I am not that guy. I don't want to be that guy." Jason Whitlock addresses Cam Newton's "stay in your lane" comments about Joy Taylor. Sports analyst and commentator Jason Whitlock responded to former NFL quarterback Cam Newton's comments about him, saying that he is not that guy. In one of the recent episodes of Fearless, Jason Whitlock addressed Cam Newton's statement about him, saying that he is not that guy, to which Jason responded with, "I don't want to be that guy." So the first thing Cam Newton has to do for me to fully understand this, who's that guy, Whitlock said. What are we talking about here? Define that guy for me, Cam. I say this in all seriousness. I would love to have this conversation with you on what makes someone that guy, and then ask yourself, does Jason Whitlock want to be that guy? Because maybe this is just a misunderstanding about what that guy is and whether or not I want to be it. Here's who I want to be, Cam. I want to be a Christian who provides biblical wisdom to young people and older people who reject and deny the wisdom that's spelled out in the Bible. That's the guy I'm trying to be. To the best of my ability, that's who I am. That's the guy that I want to be. What would say, Cam, is you're right. I'm not that guy. I don't want to be that guy. I'm trying to be a guy that reaches people like Cam Newton and say being that guy is an actual mistake. So earlier this week, Whitlock had been discussing in his program Fearless the issue of the lawsuit filed against people from Fox Sports 1 accusing Executive Vice President Charlie Dixon and former host Skip Bayless of workplace misconduct and sexual harassment. The lawsuit also detailed stories of how host Joy Taylor allegedly slept her way to the top of the corporate ranks. In one of his earlier videos, Jason Whitlock described Joy Taylor's breasts as big rack and big cans and her complexion as peanut butter skin. He also detailed how he knows what I am capable of, and this is why he distanced himself from the female host in the past. Whitlock's choice words sparked backlash, with some people accusing him of sexualizing Joy Taylor, and some even accusing him of pretending to be that guy like what Cam Newton did. Jason Whitlock has already gone on to explain that his comments were not to express desire for Joy Taylor, but rather to state a reality that any man is susceptible to temptation. So that's pretty much the gist of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to back out of this and we're going to play a little video to go along with these comments made back and forth by Whitlock and Cam. So let me go ahead and back out.
That big rack.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and share this. All right, so here is a snippet that gives you the gist of what's going on here between these two.
Jason Whitlock, you're not that guy, pal.
Cam, I used to spend a lot of time worried about who I was effing. And now I don't. Because I finally figured out that's not the key to what my purpose here in life is. You think you're out here killing it, being that guy, and you got baby mamas from strip clubs and baby mamas from Instagram. You done knocked up 304s all across the South and had babies with them. And I guarantee you missed your blessing.
All right, so short, sweet, and to the point, but that should get the message across there. So this thing has all kinds of legs, but what do you make of this exchange here? What do you make of what Cam had to say and then what Whitlock had to say in response?
Yeah, when first of all, when Whitlock said what he said, because I saw that first, of course, and I'm not really a fan of Whitlock. I think he is. I think he's a bit extra, and a bit of a shock jock at what he does in his own little lane. He just says splashy things, and so never really cared for him as a personality, really. But I guess the respect will come in at is that people be liking some of his stuff. So, but I was personally never a fan. So when he was saying his stuff about Joy Taylor, about her peanut butter skin, her big rack and her tomato cans, I'm like, all right. So me personally, I was like, can you say that? Can you say that? Can you say her big? He had to emphasize it because when he said big rack of hers, and he said that big rack, he had to double down and say it again. I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like this is appropriate. So when I saw people coming out of the woodwork to lay into Jason Whitlock, Jason Whitlock, he's easy prey. He's because there's quite a few people out here that don't care for Whitlock themselves. So Whitlock is low hanging fruit. So I felt like when Cam made that play, I felt like nobody went harder than Cam from the people that had something to say. There was nobody as big as Cam that had something to say to Whitlock. And when Cam came at him, basically saying that he's not that guy, I'm like, what do you mean? Right. He's not that guy. That's what I was saying. Like, what do you mean that he's not that guy?
Right.
Any guy can see those tomato cans. So for him to say that, like, what are you talking about? So I guess what he was getting at was that Whitlock he's not that guy to hit somebody like Joy Taylor. But Whitlock said it himself. He was like, hey man, it only took me to shoot a shot, basically. With those, jugs that are just hanging out there like that. It only took me to shoot my shot for her to say Whitlock was being inappropriate to me in the workplace. And for him to be upside down and looking crazy at work. So he was basically saying that he removed himself away from all of that temptation. So he's not getting Me Too'd. So whether he can hit or not, that doesn't, it has no bearing on the fact that she could have got him fired. So his point wasn't that, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Me, Whitlock, I ain't want to hit that and get caught up at work. That's not what he was getting at. So for Cam to be coming at him so adamantly, as if Whitlock was implying that he could have tossed up Joy. You know, it was a bit much for me. But honestly, bro, if hell, if the allegations are true, Whitlock probably could have got a chance to toss that up. So hey, man, because you saw that exec. Now Whitlock don't have the power the exec has. All right, because you know if the allegations are true, you know power will make her spread. But hey, man, who knows, man? You know,
And
so
at the time, he was still higher up on the food chain than her. So
yeah, you know what I'm saying. So if it was power dynamics, you know, she probably would have busted open for the dynamics. So hey, man, you never know. So yeah, I thought Cam was being a little too aggressive there. I felt like he thought he was going to have an internet win moment, but I've been seeing more videos scold Cam Newton over all of this than scolding Whitlock for saying, you know, the juicy cans comment. Because you know, again, it was inappropriate. But the more I'm watching Whitlock throughout all this stuff, I'm starting to understand his shtick, and I'm getting I'm getting good laughs out of all of this stuff. So yeah, Cam, I felt like he jumped the gun on that. You know, it was one of those moments where he thought he did something, you know, as a bullying tactic, and he thought everybody behind him was going to be cheering him on. But after it happened, most people was looking like, "Damn, bro, why are you jumping out the window for somebody you barely even know?" But what are your thoughts, man, on Cam Newton calling out Jason Whitlock, saying that he's not that guy?
Yeah, the internet was right to scold Cam Newton because he's in the wrong here. Yeah, I'm not really, I'm indifferent towards Whitlock. I'm not a fan of his, nor do I dislike him. He's around to me. You know, I remember him from his old days on ESPN. He used to be on PTI. So I remember Whitlock going all the way back then. But once he left ESPN, I didn't really watch him too much. I knew he was on Fox, but I wasn't watching Fox back then. So he's just somebody who I know him as an old school journalist. You know, he's got skin in the game as a journalist, and now he's a content creator and he does his YouTube show, and he used to be on Fox. I don't really know, well, at least prior to this situation, I didn't really know how he conducted his platform. And I've been watching more of it lately, and I see that he is one of these guys who is, I think he looks at himself as like an avant-garde against some of the stuff that we talk about, honestly. Like he looks at himself as someone who is fighting back against forced matriarchal ideology and you know, the trying to uphold traditionalism, the nuclear family, and all of this kind of stuff. I think he's that kind of person, or at least he sees himself that way. And so, you know, when I actually saw what Whitlock said first, you know, talking about this situation, I was watching Whitlock's episodes. Then I watched Cam say that in response on his show, and I was wondering whether Whitlock was going to respond, and Whitlock did respond, and Whitlock's response is exactly the same response I would have had. See, first of all, Cam Newton has 8 children and 3 different baby mamas, right? That's well known, well documented. 8 kids, 3 different baby mamas. If you've listened to how he talks about women and his relationships on his own platform, some of the stuff that he's talked about that he's done, you know, doing his thing, living his life, you know, in and out of the strip clubs and doing whatever, right? Cam Newton to me is one of these guys who gleans a large part of his self-worth and identity from his sexual conquests. You know, if you watch his interview with Brittany Renner, for example, or watch the interview that he did with the doctor lady, this lady who I don't like, Bryant, I forget her first name.
Cheyenne.
There you go, Cheyenne Bryant. There you go. If you look at him and the way he talks about women and relationships and family in these various contexts, and you kind of put 2 and 2 together, the 8 kids, the 3 different baby mamas, and what he out here doing in the streets, He's a guy who's like these other. We knew these. Like I know guys like him. I knew guys like him in high school. I knew guys like him in college. They woke up thinking about vagina every day. Their life was based on what piece of vagina they were going to get today. They lived and breathed it. They were motivated singularly by the pursuit of vagina. Now, I'm not going to go so far as to call Cam Newton a slave to vagina, but based upon his public rhetoric, it seems as though pursuing vagina is a big part of his existence. Now, listen, I like women and sex just as much as the next guy, but there is a difference between sequestering women and sex and compartmentalizing it in the way that you can still be a productive, fully fledged man who's not going to be compromised by women and vagina, versus being the kind of guy who will compromise any and everything if it means you can get sex or vagina. And based on some of the things that I have heard Cam Newton say since he's become a podcaster, and just based on the public things that are known about his personal life, he seems to me to be the kind of guy who would say something like, "You're not that guy." And what he's saying is, you don't get no hoes, so you can't talk like that.
Yeah, I'm that guy. You're not that guy.
Exactly. Right. Cam Newton is the kind of guy who's like, you ain't got no hoes. So what you mean? and look, I don't talk like that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, you do.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Conscious Approach community, that is a word that I only use when appropriate. I don't merely use it as a stand-in or a synonym for women. I only use it when appropriate. I am only speaking that way because I would imagine that that's how guys like Cam Newton talk.
I hear that.
So Jason Whitlock is completely well within his right to respond in that manner. It's the same way that I would have responded, which is the reason why I can talk like this, Cam Newton, is because I'm not that guy. Me not being that guy is the reason why I can maintain these opinions. You being that guy is the reason why you can't talk like this. Because you're the kind of guy, Cam Newton, who will allow the cute intern to get, you will give the cute intern at your production company a high-ranking, prestigious position because she was willing to let you smash. You're that guy, Cam. And you're the problem with most men today, the modern man. You will compromise anything and give up all of your leverage in pursuit of women and vagina. And Jason Whitlock represents the antithesis of this, and he's calling it out. And Whitlock, and like I said, I don't care about Whitlock per se, but in this instance, I'm with him on this.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like I'm going to call out all of you sucker dudes who are slaves to vagina and are willing to give up your positions of power and leverage just because a woman is willing to let you smash for it. He's one of those guys, based on what I've seen. So Whitlock has every right to call that out because those guys are a part of the problem, not the solution.
Right.
Not the Cam, you're not that guy, bro. You're not a part of the solution. So he can have all of that, speaking of Cam, he can talk all of that stuff if he wants to, because what he doesn't realize is he's the kind of guy who needs to be listening to people like Whitlock when it comes to stuff like this. Maybe not everything, but when it comes to this particular conversation, Whitlock has a point because I would have responded in the same way. All you dudes out here who think that you are running the game because of your body count and because of all of the chicks that you let smashed, you don't even realize that you are ceding so much of that power that you have in lieu of those women getting their way because they let you have sex with them. And you think that puts you in an advantageous position because you did that. Really, it puts you in a disadvantageous position because these women see you for what you are, which is a walking penis. And they know that they can get away with whatever they want so long as they offer up enough box. And you'll take it because you have no self-respect for yourself. So I hear everything Whitlock is saying in this regard, regardless of whether these allegations against Joy Taylor are true or not. On the surface, with this particular conversation, Whitlock had every right in the world to respond in the way that he did.
Yeah, I agree, man. So, Cam, he's been really going on a campaign lately to, because I really was neutral to him, just a fan of him playing football, neutral to him as a person, while he had a helmet on. And then, now that he's out here doing post career Cam Newton, he's been moving a little funny. Man. He had a little moment during the football season where he called out Shador and them about something. Dunking on Shador and his podcast. Then, like a week later, not even, at the game, trying to dap him up. And Shador was like, "Nah, bro." I'm like, "I'm not dapping you up, bro." Like, you said, I saw what you said, bro. That wasn't cool, bro. You know what I'm saying? And then Cam was like, "What do you mean, man?" And then Shador was like, "Nah, man, that's weird, bro. That's weird." And yeah, man, because when I saw him do that, I was like, "Damn, Cam, I thought you were solid, bro. What is this?" And and with this Whitlock thing, it was too much. And it's in that lane of, yeah, bro, you acting weird. So I don't know what kind of time Cam is on. I've defended him a number of times on this platform, especially when that thick ass doctor was talking to him. Yeah, man. But as of late, man, Cam has really been showing his true colors. And yeah, man, he really thinks he's that dude, apparently. So whatever the hell that means, man. So yeah, man, it's not often I'm gonna be sitting around here taking up for Whitlock, but in this case, yeah, man, I think Whitlock had the right position on the board, and I think Cam was the one overreaching here. So yeah, whether those allegations are true or not, all of this stuff is what is really all these allegations that are coming out now, guys. All right, y'all need to keep stuff above board, especially at work. And hey, man, I don't think you can have a work wife no more. The way this stuff's going. All right, so if you got like what I'm saying, an old lady at work that you be flirting and playing around with, I don't know if that's cool anymore. Who knows what's going on nowadays, man. So y'all be safe out there. It was before. I guess it was the initial Me Too stuff or whatever, but it was just really as of late, man. I think it was when I started working in corporate offices. Because when I worked at Walmart, anything went. I didn't give a damn. But when I started working in a corporate space, it just didn't feel right to have the same type of friendships that I had when I was at Walmart and Target and stuff like that. Like it didn't feel clean. It felt like I can get reported at any moment. So yeah, man, every conversation I had was above board. Like HR can get involved. If there was a message written in Slack, it was like if this can get screenshotted and sent to HR. So I'm not saying nothing crazy. You ain't gonna get me saying nothing crazy. I ain't do nothing crazy. And because you never know, And so I would just tell you, people out there nowadays, man, just be careful where you at, what you're doing. And there's a time and a place, man. And right now, it doesn't look like the workplace is the place to have fun. Because, Acho in this situation, hey, man, he was just hitting the girl at work, man. What's the big deal? You know what I'm saying? I guess power dynamics can get in play, but he's no exec. He's just a host. So he made a regular play that anybody else would have in that situation, if that's true. But, now his name's getting dragged in the mud, all because he had a piece of that big rack. So, hey, man, it is what it is, y'all. So y'all be safe out there and don't use words like big rack in the corporate office. So, yeah, man, be safe.
Yeah. Cam can miss me with this. Just the last thing that I'm going to speak on with Cam. Cam is trying to become like a big shot in the media game. He's on First Take now once a week. I'll be seeing him every Friday. They got Cam Newton on First Take. So Cam Newton is trying to become Mr. Corporate Podcaster Media Guy. And when you do the corporate podcaster media guy thing, you're going to have to play by the corporate podcaster media guy rules. And when you have to play by the corporate podcaster media guy rules, you're going to be parroting a lot of speech. And I've been noticing with Cam a lot lately, he's doing a lot of Stephen A. Smithing, where women can do no wrong. Women are always victims. Women aren't being held accountable when they do wrong things, because if you do, you must hate women. So he's doing a lot of this subtly on ESPN. And he's bringing that onto his own platforms because you want to be marketable, I guess, at all times. But he's starting to parrot a lot of this weirdo new human speech of all women all the time. Women are better, smarter. And listen, I'm not trying to single out women to suggest that they aren't all those things, but it isn't universal across the board. But he's parroting a lot of this speech where it's women empowerment and women are better and smarter and faster and stronger. And women, if she did it, it must have been because she was a bit being victimized in some kind of way. Like a woman can't be responsible or accountable for any wrongdoing in any situation that makes her look bad. It must be because something was being done to her to make her do that. And that's not to say that isn't the case, but to leap to that conclusion by default is a type of speech and rhetoric that is happening throughout mainstream media more and more nowadays. And I'm starting to see him become a part of that when it comes to sports. So I've been monitoring that a lot with Cam. So to hear him talk like this, to me, is no shock. But he definitely strikes me as the kind of guy. He's one of those guys. He's one of those guys, man. He's one of those guys where he's probably, if he ain't talking about football, he probably talking about women. And if he ain't talking about women, then he probably talking about football. But women and the conquest of women and it's really sexual conquests, because it's not a conquest of the mind. It's just how many women can he sleep with is probably a large part of his identity. And Whitlock is speaking to why that is a problem, and he had every right to do that.
Yeah, 100, man. And yeah, man, I never thought I'd see the day when Cam became corporate sellout Cam, but he is definitely on his way. Because I've been noticing that too. I haven't seen him on. I heard he was on ESPN. Haven't seen it, but I knew he was dabbling in those waters. And you're right, bro. He has definitely adopted some of that Stephen A. rhetorics. So yeah, man. Didn't think I'll see the day, man. But hey, what can you do, bro?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody need to check, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because Lord knows if he says that's the woman's fault, she shouldn't have did that, that's on her. He will get removed. So he playing the game. It's just disappointing to see him play the game.
Yep.
Shouts out to Whitlock this time.
Yeah, this time, bro. This time.